Friday, Governor DeWine signed an executive order that lowered the reduction to the state foundation funding formula. So instead of losing almost $945,000 in state funding this year, the revised deduction amount for our district will be a loss of $425,000. And my other update is also on Friday, ODE released information on another round of CARES Act funding. Our district is expected to receive an additional $16.7 million for COVID-related expenses from March 2020 through September 23.
Beautiful.
That's all I have.
I have one question on that. If you don't know the answer, I'm sure you can find it. Will that money come in a lump, or will it come over that period of time of 3 or 4 years?
It should be in one period of time that we'll have to do budgets for 3 years.
Okay. Okay. It's great news.
Great to me.
You're all done?
Yep.
Next is the report and recommendations of the CEO, number 11.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to provide a couple updates. Obviously, a lot's going on as we transitioned from phase 1 to phase 2 of our plan. I'd like to ask Michael Scott to give us an update on what's going on with hybrid learning.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Graham. First, I just want to thank our staff collectively, not just our teachers, but our support staff, our administrative assistants, the custodians, safety. You know, it's taken a whole team effort. I thank the board for their participation during phase 2. There were lots of meetings to get this right. And when I say right, I mean get it safe so that our students can have this opportunity to come back. Get it right, I mean also to ensure our staff that all safety measures have been taken. Also realizing that along the way, there's going to have to be some course corrections. But I do want to, continue to highlight the creativity of our instructional staff, whether we're looking at different ways of getting guest speakers into the classroom, leveraging the new software resources or the innovative technology like Cami that has been brought on board, or trying to figure out right now how to Zoom with kids in the room and all that comes along with that. So even in these first couple of weeks, there's been a lot of trial and error. There's been a lot of experts that have been put on stage and a lot of questions, and we've given time for that. So I do want to spotlight that. And then also say that there are opportunities for growth. And the one thing that continues to excite me about our staff is the ability and desire to learn from each other. So I want to share something from a principal that wrote a little note for me. It says, overall, our in-person students are in their second or third week in our building. All the planning around cafeteria seating, traffic patterns in the hallway, bathroom breaks, breakfasts, lunch, isolation rooms, testing, mask wearing, and social distancing has led to a clean opening for in-person schooling. While no school opening is perfect, what has been most encouraging has been the rate at which we've been able to pull together and smooth out any bumps. Everyone has been collaborative and solution focused. It's exciting to have gotten to a place where we can safely and confidently host students on our campus. So there's a reality that, where you are on the continuum of should we be back, shouldn't we be back, should we be offering? At the end of the day, we're trying to, especially during this pandemic, give our families options. And to that principal's note, we have done that and we do have those options. Are there areas to grow in? Absolutely. I'd like to reach out to our families right now and encourage us all. The attendance piece is an opportunity that we need to lean in further for all of our students. And in doing so, we need to activate student voice more. That's what we're hearing. We can learn best from our students. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be strategizing on how to activate that student voice more, how to find out why certain students may or may not be coming to school, and then put some solutions on those. So, but the attendance piece is an area of focus for us. Another area of focus for us will be our extended learning opportunities. We had a meeting today, and Dr. Graham's going to give me a little bit more information tomorrow about how to do this right for our students, knowing not just because there may be gaps that have occurred or students may have been engaged at different levels, but something that we should be doing and thinking about if COVID never existed. Making sure that our students are given those opportunities. Oftentimes we talk about an achievement gap, but I think we need to also be talking about opportunity gaps and how do we close those. So some good things are coming to focus there. And hopefully from our next board meeting, we'll have a little bit more updates that we can give there. But things that we're doing right now, lastly, a few meetings ago, we had indicated that we wanted to work on, we had identified 4 areas of focus. And I do want to spotlight in our phase 2 areas that are coming to light. When we're talking about our positive behavior and supports, everything that we've done to ensure safety comes back to our PBIS initiative, whether it's from the district team to the building teams, but ensuring safety and ensuring that routines are not only spotlighted and identified, but are taught intentionally. That was a huge area for us. And then when we start talking about interventions and how to design learning for all the different technology that we're using, the small groups that we have, our teachers sacrificing time, these are all about trying to ensure that learning fits for all students. So we are moving that PBIS model, and we are moving our multi-tier systems of support model as well. So when we talk about the plan being put in action, it is happening, and it is happening because of the relentlessness of our staff. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of those things, but also identify that we still have a lot of work to do, and this is hard. Every morning, our principals and our staff are working to even cover ourselves right now internally. We are asking people to do things that they haven't done, and they're willingly doing these acts right now to ensure that we can have face-to-face services for our students. So I wanted to spotlight some things that are going well, but also identify to the board some areas of focus for us as we continue to move along this phase 2.
Michael, I appreciate that. Just I got a couple things, and a couple of times you applauded our staff on how they reacted to this. We have just in terms of perspective, we have over 1,000 people in this district who are all doing something, professionally speaking, that they've never done before. And by definition, when you do something, when you make yourself vulnerable, it's scary, stressful, it's challenging, and it's hard. And our staff has consistently just stepped up and gotten it right. We create opportunities to talk to our staff. We try to listen and react. But again, the folks getting the work done are just, again, I just can't thank you enough for the approach that you're taking to make sure our kids have what they need. But in the spirit of why we're here, the whole pandemic piece, again, part of our mitigation strategy is to put steps in place to assess the quality of our mitigation strategies. And Ross is taking on the lead of that. Ross, can you give us an update on COVID testing?
Yeah, so we're 3 weeks in now with staff starting initially, and then our baseline the last 2 weeks with students. And so far, we have conducted 1,281 COVID tests through the first 3 weeks. We have 19 positives that have come back in those 3 weeks. So the positivity or the incidence rate's 1.5%, which is outstanding. And when we met with our health professionals last week, they actually said that's about this, very comparable to Overland College, who we actually talked with initially. So from that standpoint, well, I'm beyond thrilled because I was really holding my breath that we were going to be around 15% if we were going to mirror what's going on in the county. So again, we've turned up 19 cases through our testing. Now we have more than that have been reported, either that have been tested on their own or they've in community contact. But one of the things that I think is important too is how we look at how our mitigation, our practices are working with close contacts in school. And so far, when we look at those that have been quarantined, when we look at the close contacts that have happened, we've had 55 total people that have been quarantined. 16 of those have been in some type of a school setting. All the others are from a community-based setting, so in the home or in the car, for example, to or from school. So from just a how are we working with them, the mitigation practices, so far we're pretty good. Now, an area for improvement that we recognize, and we still are not, 2 areas where we're not where we need to be yet. The first area is the communication results. So our plan initially was that we would have our nurse practitioner, Katie Malaire, through Mercy Health, would notify anybody with positive contacts. And that's happened, that's gone well. Our next part to that was all those that test negative. Those results were going to go into my chart. My chart sends an automatic notification to those that test, and that was going to happen. So that's happened for a number of our staff members, but not everybody. And so the next layer that we started last week and that going forward we'll be doing either daily or every other day when we get the lab results back is to do then a robo text and call for those that are negative. They can get that, go to a website, see if they're negative. We've gotten all of our lab results back within 3 days. Our initial concern was that the time it was taking was going to be between 4 to 7 days because that's what we saw with our athletes before winter break. All of our testing results have come back within 3 days so far. So we've been very, very encouraged by that. Mercy Health actually added staff to the lab. They supplied us with a courier who makes 2 pickups per day to get our specimen kits to the lab. So that has gone extremely well. So our communication around results feel very confident improved last week. It'll improve even more this week. And then the other area for improvement is our student consents. So through this morning, we have 455 consent forms for students. So on our family commitment survey right before winter break, we had roughly 1,300 students whose families said yes, that they would like to participate, and roughly another 600 that said maybe they need to learn more information. So the next area that we need to improve on is to work to engage with our families around their comfort level to then consent to participate in the COVID testing. So that's the next area that we need to improve upon.
Excellent. Questions from the board?
I have a question. How many kids will we have to test randomly per week for it to work the way that we had said it was going to work?
Yeah, so for our population size altogether, by doing staff weekly, we need to be right around 320 students per week for us to have a good look out across the district of what we have. So we're, with the consents that we have, we're okay on that, but to be able to do a legitimate job randomizing it, we need quite a few more to make a
Because they're going to
bigger
be
pool.
tested pretty much every other week. The same. Well, some kids could be randomly every single week.
They could,
since
right.
It's such a low number.
Yes, so we would like a much larger pool, just mathematically, to have a
More.
clear picture of what's going on. We have enough that we can look and make some decisions about the quality of our mitigation practices. And then again, our staff participation has been pretty good and they're part of the whole pool. But we obviously would like more.
And when we surveyed our students, we were told that a lot of folks, everybody's fine with it, but it's just getting the paper back that's
Yes.
been the challenge.
Yeah,
Yep.
we had
The-
this.
the
Yeah,
consult-
Ross and I
Yep.
had that
Yep.
discussion.
Yep.
How is attendance of the students coming to school? I know we had 2,400 or so say they were coming. What is the attendance like of the kids coming to school? I have heard some schools have been pretty low.
Right. So there's a couple things I think that have factored into some students and families deciding on any given day, well, yes, it's my day to return, but whether it's weather conditions, whether it's something. So there's that. We've noticed that some students that are supposed to be face-to-face, while they may be absent in the face-to-face, they're still logging in to the Zoom
Yeah,
piece.
no, I
So-
just mean how many kids are we actually having come to school on average daily? I'm not talking about attendance in
Oh, I thought you were
general.
talking about, the
No, I'm
factors.
talking about like coming into the school
Do you have that number?
attendance.
Yeah,
is what I meant.
We can get that number for you. I don't have it.
No,
I've
I
gotten,
just was curious as to how many kids are
yeah,
coming
I'll get you
in.
I'll get you the hard numbers. Anecdotally, I've heard both sides. I've heard my class attendance is low. And on the other hand, I've heard that kids who weren't attending virtually or remotely
attending more
the first
now.
semester
Yeah.
are coming back now.
I was
so,
just curious
yeah.
as to how many are.
I'll get
Yeah.
that data for you.
Yeah, I apologize, Mrs. Zara, for not understanding your
okay.
question.
I think what would also be helpful is if maybe you could email all of us just maybe a report that how many kids signed up for each building. So we have 13 buildings. Palm, there were not how many. I mean, I know the attendance day to day is different, but how many actually what we're planning for, because
Sure.
I think that's a number that helps us. I mean, like how many kids are actually assigned to come to high school.
Gotcha.
And I think that way, as we move further down the line and we see more what the standard behavior is, we can kind of compare. So we expected this many and we're averaging 60% a day of that or something
Right.
to
We
that
will get your
nature.
report out every Friday. Thank
Great.
you. By building.
And also congratulations, at least I know the 400 is lower than we've targeted, but I think maybe a week ago or so, there was a number like 75.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, whoa, what's, and so just that uptick from 75 to 400 means that we've been effective in getting to those families and starting to get those in. So we'll expect that to keep going up also, I would presume.
Yeah, Aaron and Jeff Kruski and I are meeting this afternoon to talk through just like next layers of engagement. And one of the barriers that we have heard is that some of our family members, very understandably, are a little hesitant now to have their child get that test without them there. It makes perfect sense. So we're kicking around different ways that we can do it in a safe way where family members can be there. So if it's a drive-through type of a setting or as part of a like drop-off or pick-up from school, that the family member can be right there with their child when they get that test. And again, it's the lower nasal swab. It's not the one that goes way back, deep into your sinuses. But we want our families to feel comfortable, with their children when they get that test, so they can see this is what it is, and it's okay.
Yeah, because I remember with our athletes and hearing from some of them, they were really nervous at first. And that was on a drive-through basis where someone was there with them.
Yep.
And then after they had a few of them, they became more and more comfortable. Well, hopefully our kids won't have too many because the randomizing, hopefully
Right.
they don't, so it's just going to take the comfort level that they're going to experience is not the same that we've had with our athletes because it's become normalized to them. So
Right.
that's understandable.
Yep.
Agree. Yep. All right, thank you. And we've also in the process of restructuring our policies and making sure that they're current. And to do that, we've joined, and historically speaking, we used OSBA, who have provided feedback and guidance. And we have now engaged with Neola, who is a group that does this for a living. And we did a presentation on this a while back. But Carol, if you can give an update on where we are with Neola, please.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Good evening, everyone. So yes, we're excited to transition with Neola, which again, as Dr. Graham mentioned, is the new policy service for us in the district. There's really two major policy services in the state for schools, which is, as he mentioned, OSBA and Neola. So the board approved a contract last month for us to begin policy services with Neola. And we have started this process. I've been working with our rep. His name is Jeff Patterson from Neola. He's a former school administrator, actually in our area. Myself, Elena Rivera, and Juanita Senkis attended a training today with Neola this afternoon on the administrative features and the technology that happens kind of behind the scenes of the policy. For those that aren't aware, Neola is very much technology based. It's an online platform. It does use board docs, which the district is already using. So that'll be a nice transition for us as we move into Neola. We'll be meeting with Dr. Graham later this week to identify members of that policy committee, which will consist of 2 board members as well to be a part of this process as they have been in the past. And then we will be going ahead and scheduling what they call an orientation meeting with the committee and getting us rolling.
So Mr. Ballard, please consider it an official request for 2 board members at some point to be shared with Carol to carry out that work. And in the spirit of transparency, I know that obviously with House Bill 70, we are governed a little differently. We intend to behave in a way that's consistent with typical school districts and engage our entire board in the process. Although in the committee will be 2 board members for reasons that are for sunshine law, purposes of sunshine laws.
Sure.
Okay, and the last piece, and just give a brief update on, because I'd like to introduce Waleska Soto, who is doing our translating this evening. And she's done our translating in previous meetings because obviously we want to make sure that we're as respectful as we can be to our entire community. So we try to go, we've been live, making sure that we translate live. And Waleska needs to work with me probably because I know I talk pretty fast, but I'll work on that. But I just want to thank her for accepting a new role. And to the board and to the community, this is not an added position. We restructured some portions of central office, so we did not need to hire an additional person, but we wanted to make sure that we had a very strong emphasis and focus on making sure that we're speaking with our Spanish-speaking families in a way that's respectful. So I've gotten a lot of very, very positive feedback on Waleska in terms of her translating skills, both verbally and in writing. And I'm just excited by the fact that now her number one priority, her job function is to make sure that we're communicating effectively with our Spanish-speaking families. So, Waleska, I'm sure you're uncomfortable translating nice things about yourself because that's who you are. But truly, thank you for that. And I'm also looking forward to working with Waleska to make sure that we have a comprehensive plan that doesn't just translate during meetings, but make sure that information gets out in a timely manner and we communicate with everyone at the same time. So we'll have translating services and programs and strategies, processes, and structures in place to make sure that if something happens at night, we don't have to wait a day or the next morning to make sure we get things done. So, Waleska, I just want to say thank you again. We have a communications audit that is being finalized, and I expect at the next board meeting for that to be complete. Although we've gotten some sneak previews on some things we need to focus on. Obviously, translations has been a big one for us. But in addition to that is engaging with, and again, part of who we are. So this is what we have planned, but details will come out soon in terms of how we can engage different groups of our community. We need to make sure we have a student voice. And I met with Pat Coleman a while back, and he is getting together a group of students to serve on a superintendent advisory committee. We will make sure we engage our parents. And I know the program we followed last time was TAG. Again, we'll listen to our parents to find out how they want to organize themselves and make sure that we communicate, again, effectively both ways. And our community business school partnership, which existed, we put in place back when I was here during my first tour. And we'd like to blow the dust off that and make sure that we are engaging CBS as community business schools. And it's where all of us in our community is actually very comprehensive, parents, non-parents, civic organizations, business leaders, and our schools to make sure that we're taking care of one another. It's not all about what they can do for the schools. We know that in order to be successful, we have to make sure that all those entities are working together to make sure our city is strong. So we'll have more updates as time permits, but I'm looking forward to our next board meeting. We'll get a little bit more detail with that. Any questions from the board? Okay. I would like the board to consider for approval items 3.01 to 3.06 personnel matters.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Ms. Nazario,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, Mr. Williams.
Yes.
I'd like the board to consider for approval items 4.01 and 4.02 operations matters.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Ms. Nazario,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
She said
And
yes.
Mr.
She's
Williams.
muted.
Yes.
And that's all I have for you tonight. Mr. Ballard?
Thank you, sir. Is there anything in new business, guys? Seeing nothing in new business. Any report from the board on any other issues?
Just thank you to Mike for turning off that air handler.
And that's
No
good, Mike.
problem.
Thanks.
I mean, I know it's complex, all these computers and everything, so,
Very automated.
yeah.
Call a text, go to the end, I had to physically de-energize there and
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I do have one thing to follow up on.
about that. I apologize.
No, Mike, if I could jump in real quick, and I think that's just evidence of what we've been talking about all night. People going the extra mile to make sure things are good. It's the detail pieces. So thank you for that. You've always been excellent. I'm sorry, Bill.
Yes, Mr. Bill?
Yeah, I think it was last August, I contacted Jeff about some books for community college, history books. And I received a call again from Rich Ramirez. And this is going to be February. He said he still doesn't have any books.
Can we speak to that? Nope. Okay, I will get back with you. Thank you.
And he also said he talked to Mr. Michael Scott.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And yeah, well, I'll get back to you on that, but I know more.
Okay.
Anything further? All hearts and minds are clear. Okay, so announcement of our next board meeting will be on February the 8th, right
Oh,
here.
one more thing. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And I know it wasn't clear on this, but and maybe we could do it at the next meeting. I know we had some listed retirements coming up. And so for those folks who've done great service to our district, if there's some way that when someone's retiring, we could like acknowledge that. I saw when we were going over the pre-agenda, I believe I saw Coach Rossitano retiring. So not to make one more or one less, but that would be a nice thing to just kind of refresh us, and so that we can, thank them for their services. I know the official retirement might be pending. It might not be until the end of the school year or something, but those are just things that we should probably highlight a little bit more in honor of the service that they've contributed to our district.
And to your point, now is not a good time, but with vaccinations coming out predicted in February and vaccinated by April, maybe we can have a gathering together in honor those. Okay, thank you.
Everyone else clear? Miss Yvonne, you have anything? I know you're muted, but do you have anything? I can't hear you. Are you fine? Can we unmute her? She was still talking.
She said no, nothing, but
Okay,
she was muted.
outstanding. Our next meeting is scheduled for February the 8th at 5 o'clock right here. Seeing no other business on the agenda, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Roll call?
Mrs. Zario?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson? And Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Meeting
Yes.
is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.